Welcome to Van Talks with Lana, cabin edition. So this is the current mood. Let's change that really quickly. I am in the van figuring out what I should wear for this video. One, I get dressed because it makes me feel good and I miss that part of life. Typically I'm wearing pajamas or workout clothes or hiking gear or just something comfy that is kind of multi-purpose. But I miss my fashionista days. Not that I was ever in fashion, but I do have a unique and keen style when it comes to attire. I think I'll wear this. Howdy. Greetings from Idaho. For those of you who are newer to my channel, my name is Lana, and welcome to Van Talks with Lana. I've been thinking about what I wanted to talk about this week, and typically what kind of sparks a lot of these discussions are things that I've read, books that I've finished, and kind of theories that I'm implementing into my life. When the last book I read, I didn't feel like kind of talking about it for a few reasons, but I feel as though the conversation around money, hi Zizi, and my relationship with money, and in order to talk about my current relationship with money and my finances, I think there will be some comparison to my relationship with it prior to doing van life, when working corporate America, working within investments for 6.5 years, and still living a wholesome life, just slightly different. But that being said, let's jump into it. I changed my outfit. I threw these on for those of you who saw the short from the other day. Start with, I think when working your typical 8 to 5, for me sometimes it was 8 to 6, there was less time, right? I was working, my time was dedicated towards earning an income, and I was saving more. I was able to have a solid base, and in this case, my home and my state. I'm from New York, I was living in Connecticut at the time, and I didn't have time, I had money, and I had space. And what that allowed for me to do was work consistently Monday through Friday, then throughout that time kind of buy myself things that would provide me with additional comfort, short-term happiness, or just some form of contentment. I felt good from these things. And then I also had more space to occupy and fill up the space that I was living in, where I then began to somewhat hoard, right? Not hoard because I'm still very clean. I always have been pretty minimalistic. However, that word has changed for me a lot throughout this experience. But I will say I had space to buy things and store them. I didn't feel as though, whoa, I have enough things. I felt as though I don't have a lot of clothing. I'm saving a lot of money. I'm working most of the time, so I can get like these new Vibram shoes so that I can better lift. Whatever it may be, it was always something small, nothing too spectacular, and definitely wasn't on the technology side. I'm always the late adopter when it comes to that. I still have an iPhone 13, which isn't as bad as I used to do. I would have kept my X or XR, I think it was called, for forever. And I just feel as though those devices were a lot more sturdy and efficient, reliable. But Now, in van life, there's more time traveling on savings, so I'm not generating income just yet, and the cash is dwindling. However, I'm no longer leaving work to go search for something to kind of replenish myself for those hours that I felt like I had lost and dedicated to my job. Kind of a sort of, let me try to catch up for time that was lost. And that game of tag really kind of sped up and grew exponentially on the weekends, where I was like, okay, I have more time. Let me fill it with these things because I want to feel alive. I want to feel like I'm living. And I want to invest in me and not my career, my resume. And personally do things that I want to do, right? So current day, I feel as though I don't run to an experience to, even though they're fun and fulfilling and experiential, right? They contribute to your perspective and they grow you as a person, the way that you think and see life. I just feel as though now, today, I say, hey, let me kind of create this experience myself and for free. So it's pretty much, let me get outside, see what I have, and see what I can make of the day. And a lot of my joy comes from King and Zizi. Without messing this up, that's them. They are my bundle of joy. And although dogs can be costly, I think they're an investment and they're certainly worth it for me. But yeah, now with the time, kind of have to figure out what kind of formula I want to use in the van, but let's make their food. Let's cook them chicken and rice and maybe put a little cheese on it rather than giving them their typical kibble. But there's more of let's do it ourselves. And that kind of translates even into let's fix it ourselves. Can we handle this by ourselves? And even when food is kind of running out, stock up on groceries for the week, we go off grid into a forest, food is running down, and we said in 7 days we'll head back to Walmart and we'll get food. And strategically buy our groceries with the dollar signs in mind, whereas before I wasn't looking at the dollar sign, and I'm grateful for that because not everyone is as fortunate to have the income, and even the income after putting in the work, right? Sometimes you work your tail off and you're still kind of living check to check or barely making it. So it isn't money, exchanging time for money, and now that I have more time, I'm running out of money. Everyone kind of designs that differently, but this is what it is for me. And going back to when the groceries are dwindling out, you're out in the forest, there's, okay, I said 7 days, but ideally, I like it here. This is a cool spot, considering the cost of gas and just the time spent driving to the next spot, and the fact that I do have the time. We don't need to rush to the next spot. Let's stretch this out and stretch each dollar out and stretch each meal out and manage to, which I'll talk about in an upcoming video with my husband about water and how we manage our water and the cost of water and just everything water related to van life in our next van life fundamentals video. So just how can I stretch this out? And you know what? I'm not very hungry today. This is something he's been playing around with a lot. I don't want to be a kind of like, I don't want my body telling me what to do. I tell my body when I want to eat. So oftentimes your stomach grumbles and you're like, okay, I ate maybe 3 hours ago, let me have a snack. Whereas, all right, my stomach's grumbling. Sure, I might have an appetite and I could eat something, but I know I ate that and I don't feel lethargic. I feel energized. I got my nutrients from my food earlier today or yesterday. We're not skipping days or anything like that. It's just maybe last night's meal might have been a little heavier, and then this morning eggs and some kind of protein. I feel okay with some avocado. Maybe I don't need to have the yogurt or the banana or the fruit or whatever your snack may be. Let me hold off until dinner. And a big one, caffeine, coffee. I used to be like, oh my God, I love my coffee shops and it's an experience and talking to people and seeing different shops. The last time I bought coffee from a coffee shop, well, 2 days ago we were going to Yellowstone, went into a gas station. The coffee was like $1.78. It's definitely below $2 and it wasn't around $1.90, but that's the cheapest coffee I have gotten in years, and probably even cheaper than the coffee that I would get in college on campus. And it wasn't Starbucks, it was like St. John's Cafeteria campus, but cheaper. But now I just make my own coffee and I have smaller portions, but I drink more during the morning and it's nice. But granted, we're in a cabin today. When we're in the van, I would likely have maybe one throughout the afternoon or an energy drink. But the caffeine, your cost of your caffeine, because that's a big one for me. My fruit, protein, caffeine, like 3 big things. And I love getting dressed up. That's why I did this, mostly for you. It does make me feel good because I'm able to kind of put stuff together, and I used to love like my clothes and stuff like that, but I used to be big on thrifting. Then I kind of swayed into like Zara, and it was very close to my home, so it was convenient and expensive, but a lot of my wardrobe came from Zara. But now it's thrifting, and even after the purchase at the thrift shop, I'm like, did you really need those 2 cowgirl boots? I sent one back with my mom, she left, and I kept like the kind of traditional brown ones with me. I felt like I'd wear them more out here on the road. But yeah, I felt like that, and my mom was like, don't feel guilty about it, Alana. Of course she's gonna say that, but yeah, I just think about my cash and where it is and where it used to be. But it can get scary for sure. I was used to earning income and being self-sufficient and extremely financially stable. Not that I'm unstable now, but it's just, there's nothing here, and this is just kind of, but let's see what else. When you're out here in the country, something that I've learned is a lot of people have their jobs where they're a bit more hands-on, right? And they know how to fix the home, they know how to fix the car, they know how to build the thing. And those expenses don't go into hiring someone to do that for you. Whereas sometimes people who earn more income, they kind of throw cash at services and people who can help them build and fix things, and kind of like those handymen. And out here you'll see that like some people may opt for the 6 to 3 job and earn an income, then buy their $100,000 vehicle that's off-road capable and has all these neat gadgets, and then from maybe once or twice a week they take it off-road. That's their hobby. They look forward to getting out and hunting on the weekends or just going out and spending time in nature, and that's it for them. That's their experience, that's their expense, and they eat the cost of gas. They say, you know what, this is a gas guzzler, it's 6-cylinder, it is what it is, and that's okay for them. But then there are even some people that put in the hours and work that earlier shift, and maybe don't pay for the expensive vehicle. Perhaps they build it themselves and stop it, and work on it themselves, and that's still their hobby. That's their thing. So it's very different, but interesting enough, I was surprised that when my Kingy wait. Wingy, they're just walking. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Someone was walking by the back gate and they just gotta protect mommy. I know, babies. It's okay. It's okay. And Zizi starts it all the time. So my mom was out here. She came. She's like, okay, Lana. So what's on the itinerary? Can we go to this park? This park? Maybe we do a tour. Then she was like, we found snowmobiles. We were like, hey, let's go snowmobiling. And it was like $350 a person. And we still considered it. However, the tickets were sold out until December, so we didn't do it. But just the thought of that was just like, whoa. However, I still ended up buying my mom like a piece of art from this place in Jackson. And I felt as though that art, I can kind of maneuver my way into saying it's worth it and it's an investment, but it depends on how you want to define these things for yourself. But I didn't buy myself anything from there. My purchases this weekend, this month, have been my things from the thrift shop. And that's probably it. I totally have everything I need plus more. I donated some things, got rid of some stuff. But anywho, so when my mom came, it was, what can we pay for to make this memorable? And we booked the tour with Bushbuck and in Grand Tetons National Park, the wildlife tour. And then after that, I was like, you know what? Let me poke around and see, because I want to tailor this specifically towards her. And I know what she likes better than most people do. So I took it upon myself to say, and then, hey, Mom, Rivera, what do you guys think about this? Baby, what do you think about this? And we kind of put stuff together as a team. And they ended up hiking 4 times. The first hike was my mom's most memorable experience of this week. And because it was her first, they loved nature. They loved how rejuvenated they felt without even, I think, realizing it. And they wanted more. They slowed down. I saw them relax. Obviously, they were on vacation, but what we were doing was replenishing them, and good for them. And it didn't leave you with the worry of how is this gonna affect me when I go back home? Because my mom retired a couple years ago and she's still working. At one point she was working 3 jobs. Now I think she's working 2. And just thinking about that, I'm like, whoa. And I'm sitting here like living off of savings. It's just evolutions and generations of people are just like, whoa. And she had the time of her life without needing to leave with a dent in her pocket. And she said this has been the most relaxing and peaceful, she said peaceful, vacation she has ever had. And we've gone to Europe before. It was just us being on one side of the spectrum, like, hey, let's go hike, let's take them around, let's let them see nature, let's cook. I cooked dinner for us every night. And there was just one day after a hike that we went to get some barbecue in Jackson, but I still cooked that night for us. And on one end of the spectrum saying, hey, what can we do? Where can we go? Want to go to a restaurant one night? To us saying, let's just show them nature. Let's be outside. Let's try to give them some history of the place and have fun in a cheaper kind of way. Granted, the Airbnb was beautiful, and that also makes for, hey, this is pretty. We have outdoor space. The national parks are close by. We don't really need to go to too many places. And with 2 people here and 2 people here, we kind of just naturally gravitated towards somewhere in the middle, leaning more towards the nature route. And we really just spent money on the tour to Grand Tetons. Yellowstone we did. Then the other national forests we went on our own. We were driving the rental. Gas was much, much cheaper. Kind of planned out our days so there wasn't a lot of back and forth. And then there was just Pierre's Theater nearby, 3 minutes away, and we saw that film, that documentary Blink. I think was $10 for them, $12 for us. And then groceries, which lasted us this time throughout the time, and we still have more. But that's another one, gas. At one point it was, hey Lana, after the show or the movie, do you want to drive into Jackson, maybe check out some of the thrift shops? And I was like, sure, but it's kind of raining. It looks like it might snow pretty heavy. We may not be able to walk around much, but we can do it. And my mom was like, well, what can we do around here? And I was like, all right, let's see. Thought there would be a farmer's market, but it was so cold. There was no market outside. Then we went to get coffee. They changed their hours, so they closed. We just missed the deadline right by us. And then I was like, well, my mom's like, what's this next door? I think it was a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant. Then we saw a barbershop, and then boom, the thrift shop. And it's where we got the boots. Came back here, settled down. They packed up a bit. We made dinner, and the last morning was still pretty magical. I made breakfast, woke up early, sat down with my mom. We just kind of laid down and talked. She was like rubbing my head, and essentially just were pretty still and present and just kind of looking around and everything and kind of just reflecting on how we felt without speaking it, but I could feel it. But yeah, your idea of money and your relationship with it and how it changes. And I have time now. I don't really have as much money, but I'm at peace with myself and my body feels healthier. I haven't worked out all week, with the exception of some of the walks and hikes we did. But my head's clear, and I felt sad when my mom left, but this experience was such a wholesome experience, and it was really something special for us. More time, less cash. I just feel lighter. And that leaves me with wanting to share this story with you guys. So it's like a fisherman and business story. It's a 1-minute read, but I promise you it is worth it. There was once a businessman who was sitting by the beach in a small Brazilian village. As he sat, he saw a Brazilian fisherman rowing a small boat towards the shore, having caught quite a few big fish. The businessman was impressed and asked the fisherman, "How long does it take you to catch so many fish?" The fisherman replied, "Oh, just a short while." "Then why don't you stay longer at sea and catch even more?" The businessman was astonished. "This is enough to feed my whole family," the fisherman said. The businessman then asked, "So what do you do for the rest of the day?" The fisherman replied, "Well, usually wake up early in the morning, go out to sea and catch a few fish, then go back and play with my wife. And evening comes, I join my buddies in the village for a drink. We play guitar, sing, and dance throughout the night." The businessman offered a suggestion to the fisherman. "I am a PhD in business management. I could help you to become a more successful person. From now on, you should spend more time at sea and try to catch as many fish as possible. When you have saved enough money, you could buy a bigger boat and catch even more fish. Soon you will be able to afford to buy more boats, set up your own company, your own production plant for canned food and distribution network. By then, you will have moved out of this village and where you could set up HQ to manage your other branches." The fisherman continues, "And after that?" The businessman laughs heartily. "After that, you can live like a king in your own house. And when the time is right, you can go public and float your shares in the stock exchange and you will be rich." The fisherman asks, "And after that?" The businessman says, after that, you can finally retire. You can move to a house by the fishing village, wake up early in the morning, catch a few fish, return home to play with kids, have a nice afternoon nap with your wife, and when evening comes, you can join your buddies for a drink, play the guitar, sing and dance throughout the night. The fisherman was puzzled. Isn't that what I am doing now? So I thought I'd leave you with that to kind of wrap things up. Please let me know how you interpret that short story of the fisherman and the businessman and what that means from you. Comment down below. Please let me know what you thought of this week's Van Talk. Slightly different, a bit more personal, and let me know if you like this, if it just wasn't doing it for you, and what money means for you. If you could describe money with one word, drop that down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching. Until next time.